Welcome to Kolter Homes' Inside World Pickleball Show, a weekly program featuring the sports, lifestyle, and action on and off the court of the fastest growing sport in America, pickleball.
Hello, everybody. I'm Carl Foster.
And I'm Melissa McCurley.
Welcome to this week's edition of
Inside World Pickleball.
All the pickleball on and off the court. Coming up on this week's show, our cover story focuses on the importance of hundreds of volunteers that make pickleball pro and amateur events running smoothly across the country.
As volunteers, I've been a volunteer many, many times myself. The biggest benefit is we don't have to pay any taxes. And seldom do we have anybody firing us. So, we make a mistake and our boss usually says it's my fault. And typically when a volunteer is making a mistake, it is our fault, those of us who have brought them in, because we have to do the training and we have to call on the others to help us with the training. If we don't tell them what we need, if we don't explain how to do it, we can't expect them to do a great job.
Talk about what your role is, what you've been doing here for the tournament.
Well, I'm chief of the court monitors, and so Sandy recruited a lot of them, which was great. I describe a court monitor as the host for a bunch of short-term lessees. We get tenants who come in, and then we get another group.
Our pro player profile brings the gold on and off the court as we go in depth with the golden boy of pickleball, Scott Golden.
I love to compete. I love to get out there and mix it up. I love men's doubles, mixed doubles, and singles. I only play singles usually if I think I can win. If I don't think I have a chance at winning, I usually won't sign up and play singles. But yeah, I still love to get in there and mix it up. I'm 36. I still feel like my ceiling has not been reached yet. And I'm going to continue to grow in the sport competitively and in other avenues.
Last chance for registration for the big Pro-Am and team event coming up early February at Punta Gorda with the World Pickleball Championships.
The registration is open. As a matter of fact, we would like to ask amateurs to support this tournament, because there are not many tournaments like this where you can play and really watch the best players in the world.
Of course, I'm not going to lose to Steve. That's not going to happen. But I do like to give him some credit that he's definitely going to give us a run for our money.
The more I talk about it, the more excited I get. So anybody that wants to put a bet on Team World, we've got this. Don't worry.
And are you ready for the drop serve and new USA Pickleball rules, as they will be official as of January 25th?
So with all rule changes, USA Pickleball is looking to make play better for all. Tournament players, recreational players. So this provisional rule is to improve the integrity of the game.
Being able to do a drop serve, do you think it adds any more diversity or dynamics into the game that we don't currently have today with the traditional serve, which, by the way, isn't going away, right? Yeah. This is the drop serve is just an additional serve. So do you think there's any advantages to it?
Not as much as I think people originally are thinking. We've actually done some tests on comparing some of the serves, and I think, some of the problems with the bounce is the bounces don't always bounce the same. You're bouncing a ball with holes.
I'm going to try the drop serve. I know a lot about racquetball, and it might become an advantage unless, like it hits a pebble or something. But besides that, I think I could probably incorporate it. It's definitely worth a try. You always try it out, and maybe I could get an advantage with it.
And will help improve your game with the Engaged Pickleball Tip of the Week from national champion Steve Kennedy. All this and more to come on the Kolter Homes Inside World Pickleball Show.
This week's show is presented by North Point Bank, relationship-based banking, your #1 choice for home loans and high-interest savings. And PGA Village Verano, the award-winning gated community in Port St. Lucie, Florida.
Shopping for a new home in Port St. Lucie? Start your search at PGAVillageVerano.com. Discover a resort-style community by Kolter Homes, featuring social and fitness clubhouses, award-winning homes and villas, championship golf next door, a 55-plus neighborhood, and South Florida's largest private pickleball center. See virtual tours and build your dream home online with interactive floor plans at PGAVillageVerano.com.
North Point Bank works to be a different kind of bank, with you at the center of everything we do. We customize products and services using a client-focused approach, which means listening and then delivering on quality solutions for our home lending clients. Whether that's a low down payment for first-time home buyers, alternative financing solutions for self-employed borrowers, or streamlined construction options to build the home of your dreams, we've got a solution for you. Connect with the Brandt team, your local lending experts at North Point Bank, to learn more.
Our cover story this week goes behind the scenes of just what it takes to pull off a successful pickleball amateur and professional tournament and all the dinks and drives that add up to one word: volunteers.
I'm telling my team, and I have a fantastic team. We are the first face you see at 6:30, 6:45 in the morning. We have been having fun. We've been teasing people, getting them to laugh. We had somebody yesterday had a birthday. I had my team sing happy birthday to them. It's been a blast.
A lot of people that have other occupations, other responsibilities, can take a weekend and enjoy it and be out here where there's pickleball and have fun.
Support for making these events successful also comes from local pickleball clubs that play at the venues.
She got me in part because I'm president of the Hilton Head Island Pickleball Club, which is a volunteer organization with about 240 members, and we basically administer the public play on Hilton Head Island. The court monitor, here we do 4 courts per monitor. We're helped by the fact that a number of the matches are refereed. So when a referee comes, the court monitor doesn't have to do anything. But basically the court monitor welcomes the players, makes sure they're in the right place, times their timeouts and game, switching.
APP Tour founder Ken Herman's right hand for operations, Dana Joseph, works closely with the volunteer team, overseeing hours of coordination for these 4- and 5-day tournaments from sunrise to late in the evenings.
The volunteers are crucial to the operations. We work with pickleballtournaments.com, which is phenomenal. Kelly Gent has been with us on the last couple tournaments. But again, we get everything ready to come to the tournaments. But when we start the tournaments, the volunteers play a ginormous part in our puzzle. And we've been blessed with some really awesome volunteers.
What kind of training do you do with the volunteers as far as getting them ready to come out here and make sure the matches get on time? There's balls out there. There's the weather conditions. Sometimes you got to make adjustments on the fly.
Absolutely. We do training. We have court monitors, which are great, match coordinators, and the check-in desk. Those are the big 3 components, and we rely on the volunteer coordinators to put their teams together. And then when we get on site, we then work with them and just kind of reiterate all the different parts of the operations.
Seen pickleball grow. It keeps growing even during the pandemic and other things, but people just want to play their pickleball, and the volunteers come from usually players that are recreational players or tournament players themselves, right?
Absolutely. Many of the volunteers also play in the events, and the COVID has definitely played a part in our volunteers, but again, I think as we continue to grow in the sport, as you said, the players definitely want to play, and they're now feeling comfortable, and especially when we're in the outside venues.
So at your next event, just give a smile and a thank you when you see your fellow picklers donating their time to help make our sport grow with bigger tournaments that are only possible because of those passionate volunteers.
You know why I play with this paddle? Because I win.
Slightly favored backhand. With hand-eye coordination.
Inside World Pickleball, Carl Foster with Scott Golden, and Scott Golden has been one of the pioneers leading through the world of pickleball. The Golden Boy, as he's known to many of you out there in the pickleball world, as a professional player, an instructor, a marketer, and TV commentator. A little bit of everything, Scott, so it's great to catch up with you.
Absolutely. It's great to be here with you, Carl. Yeah, you said it. I have a little bit of everything in the sport that I do, and I've just kind of grown with the sport over the last 4 years, and I've really enjoyed seeing the massive growth that pickleball has taken on here in the last really couple years.
And the biggest thing is, how did you find this little plastic ball and get into pickleball? Are you coming out of tennis? Are you coming out of other sports? Or how did you find pickleball?
Sure. My story is a little bit more unique than some of the other 5.0 players out there. I didn't come from a racket sport background. I played baseball and football growing up, but this was kind of foreign to me. 4 years ago, I found pickleball on accident. I went to a local park in Alabama and just stumbled on a gentleman that had a pickleball tutor machine, actually. And I'm kind of nosy with stuff. I said, "Hey, what are you doing over there?" And he put a paddle in my hand, and the rest is history. So.
Well, I discovered about a year ago we did a World Pickleball Open and started finding out. I come out of the tennis background, and all of a sudden I started talking to a lot of tennis players I know that are saying, "Hey, have you played pickleball yet?" So, and just talking to Melissa McCurley and some of the other people around the pickleball world, we said this thing is just taking off. It's still a Wild West. We see it growing. You've seen it grow over the last 4 years even more. But where do you see it today as far as the pros? Because you're looking at more and more people getting into the pro level that are coming out of tennis and other sports. They're seeing that there is prize money, and maybe you can make a full-time living in this sport.
Absolutely, and we're seeing that from some of the pros right now. Ben Johns, Simone Jardim, they have made a full-time career out of pickleball, and really that birth has come from some TV and some exposure that we've gotten over the last 2 to 3 years, really. I see the sport as something that can be on a smaller scale than tennis right now. I do see that potential to be in the Olympics as well. So I think that the growth that we've seen has really caught the attention of some media sources. I know some of the big tours that we've got, the different ones that are on scene right now, are looking to partner with some major networks, and that's going to be huge for the sport, getting the masses involved with pickleball. As well as, for me, I see the tennis players coming over, and that's why I'm getting into commentary and some teaching and stuff, because I know that my days are limited as far as playing at the pro level and things like that. So, but I would love to continue seeing that growth at the pro level and the prize money continue to get bigger.
And we see a lot of the pros have their own camps. The instruction is a big part of it now because so many new people are getting into pickleball. They're catching the buzz. They're getting the addiction. And how you see it, I see you teaching out there at different levels, from beginners that have never been on the court before, to people that want to be more competitive in tournaments. So how do you see the cross-section of your teaching right now, and where is the biggest level of interest?
Yeah, so I think that there's a lot of beginners coming into pickleball that are hungry to learn. When you first see pickleball for the first time, the main thing that we hear is like, wow, that's a funny name, and wow, these are a lot of rules to learn. And so people are just hungry for knowledge and information, and that's where a good instructor comes in. And right now, it's not good enough to just step on the court and teach somebody. You need to get certified. So if there's somebody potentially looking to teach pickleball, you want to get either PPR certified or IPTPA certified, and that will give you some credibility. And then from there, you just have to figure out what your niche is. If you want to teach beginners, do you want to teach more advanced players?
We look at the singles, we look at the Ben Johns and the Kyle Yates, and you look at these guys in their early 20s and, a younger level. And I've talked to Steve Deakin, some of the guys a little bit older, Adam Stone. So I don't know what I can keep playing singles with these guys. Do you see the future of the sport where the younger and younger are coming in versus, and the older guys are just going to migrate to doubles, so they just can't compete at that level?
100%. And actually, Joey Farias is a good example of somebody who has been playing at the pro level for 3 or 4 years now. And over the last year, really in 2020, we saw him really pull back from singles. When I first started 4 years ago, every tournament I went to, he was playing singles and doing very well. I think he's even seeing that, hey, there's a lot of young athletic talent in their early 20s coming in. More and more people like Ben Johns who have a racket sport background and who are hungry to improve in singles. And so I think, yeah, they're going to turn their focus more to the doubles and the mixed doubles. And also the senior pro level, we're seeing guys like Dave Weinbach, who 4 years ago was winning at the highest level at our sport, has now transitioned to dominating at the 50-plus senior level. So I think everybody's going to have to find their niche and where they need to put their focus.
Well, good luck in the tournaments down the road. We look forward to working together and some big projects coming up as well.
You got it, Carl. Thank you very much.
Scott Golden here on Inside World Pickleball.
I didn't know there were any new rules. I don't really know the old rules that well. But,
you must drop it from any height, so as high as you want, as low as you want. It cannot be forced down, it cannot be thrown up. So it must be released, visible to a referee, visible to your opponent's eye, and be struck any which way you like. Forehand, backhand, none of the same rules apply for these traditional underhand serve. So if you want to hit it above your waist, if the ball bounces that high, you can. You can chop it, slice it, dice it, any which way you want to hit the serve, you certainly can.
So as the new drop serve comes into effect January 25th, a lot of people are going to want to start using this drop serve. So as a certified instructor, I would encourage everyone to practice the drop serve off the court with no pressure on you in a game. If you just step out on the court and you just try the drop serve for the first time, I can pretty much assure you it's probably not going to go too well. It may not be as accurate or consistent as you would like. So I would encourage you to get a bucket of balls, go out there and practice the drop serve. I feel like the main difference between a traditional serve where you hit out of the air and the drop serve is that you can create a lot more slice and dynamic type of serves, where with the traditional serve, it's a little more difficult to do that. So I think it's going to be a good mix-up, or like in baseball, if you have a nice fastball, you can follow that up with a curveball or a changeup. I think that's going to be used at the pro level sort of in the same way. And so when I teach new people that are coming into the sport, I probably won't encourage them to use the drop serve as their main weapon or their main tool, but I do want to encourage them to practice it and maybe use it as a switch up to something that they're doing regular. Also, I feel like if there's someone who's really struggling with a traditional serve, I would try to work with them on the drop serve to see if that would be a better fit for their game. So as an instructor, I think I will teach the drop serve when it comes into effect.
Discover the plus in 55+ living at Crestwind Palm Beach. Located in Westlake, Florida's newest city, Crestwind Palm Beach is a fresh new home choice designed for the next generation. Crestwind Palm Beach is a 55+ community for those who thrive on a happy, healthy life through fitness, nutrition, and relationships. 9 decorated models now open. To learn more about all the pluses Crestwind offers, visit crestwindpalmbeach.com. That's crestwindpalmbeach.com.
North Point Bank works to be a different kind of bank, with you at the center of everything we do. We customize products and services using a client-focused approach, which means listening and then delivering on quality solutions for our home lending clients. Whether that's a low down payment for first-time home buyers, alternative financing solutions for self-employed borrowers, or streamlined construction options to build the home of your dreams, we've got a solution for you. Connect with the Brandt team, your local lending experts at North Point Bank, to learn more.
It's time for the Engage Pickleball Tip of the Week with Senior Championship Pro Steve Kennedy.
All right, guys, so the majority of people playing this game, their forehands are their stronger shot. That being the case for, I don't know what the number is, but let's say the 70–80% of the people whose forehand is considerably stronger than their backhands, what I want you to work on doing is, if given the opportunity, to be moving around a lot of shots and trying to make your forehand the dominant shot. Usually most people's drives are bigger. But hey, we get a backhand, don't panic, all right? We recognize that Lee's hit me a great shot out here. The ability to get around that ball is not worth the cost to do that, okay? So what I want you to do is keep it simple. You're gonna take pretty short backswings, guys, because our backhands are not meant to be these big weapons. They're gonna be neutral shots. So the first thing I recognize when I see a ball coming off of Lee's paddle and it's coming to my backhand side, I'm not gonna be way back in here, all right? I'm going to take a much shorter backswing. I'm going to have a somewhat of an open stance, and my paddle is going to be here. The upper body is going to rotate a little bit because I don't want to be up in here and end up just being armed. I'm going to rotate the body and try and get that paddle moving through the ball. I always like to tell people, pretend there's about 10 Coke bottles, the long, tall ones. And what I want to do is make sure I've knocked over 6 or 7 of them before I come off the flight of the ball. I don't want to be swinging across on that shot as much as I want the paddle head moving through the ball, and at the end, it might come across just a little bit. So let's see if old Stevie boy can come up with some of these shots. Good, backhand side, Lee. Good, you see the short backswing and the push through in that shot. Backhand and the push through. Backhand and the push through on that shot. Good. Good. And nice shot from Lee. That'd be a half volley. Good, and the push through. I would hope that we're not hitting that many backhands, and that if we've had to hit one behind that backhand, we've transitioned and moved up to the kitchen line. So having to hit multiple ground strokes means that you got stuck at the baseline, and that's not where we want to be if we want to get really good at this game.
Inside World Pickleball, the World Pickleball Championships coming up to Punta Gorda at the Pickleplex. Jan Poppy's put together a team competition. Team Ben Johns and Team Steve Deakin, they had their draft. We've been talking about it for a few weeks now. We're going to be doing the commentary for the live streaming and the television on CBS, so we're excited about that and excited to work with you, Scott. But you know these players very well. You've competed against them, with them. Who has the stronger team, at least on paper right now?
You know, I feel like it was like 60-40 in favor of Ben Johns. It's very close. I think Ben always does a great job of selecting his teams. He's won multiple team events. I think he's a savvy veteran at picking his teams. But don't count Steve Deakin's team out just yet. They are very strong as well. Steve actually was able to get Simone Jardim, the #1 female player in the world. I don't think there's any contest about that. Nobody would argue that. So I think Ben Johns being on one side, Simone being on the other. Obviously, you've got guys like Jay DeVilliers and even Ben Johns himself leading that charge. It's going to be interesting to see how all that shakes out at the team event.
And a team competition like team tennis, so I like the idea of team pickleball, and it's a different format. They're playing like 15 minutes, playing all day long, so it's going to be rapid pace, and it's going to be a lot of fun with singles, mixed, doubles, and so forth throughout the day. Do the players like this competition, and is it different than the normal tournaments?
Oh, hands down, Carl, they love the competition. It's a mix-up from the traditional 2-on-2 mixed doubles or men's doubles or even singles. And women's doubles. So I think that they do like the mix-up of it. I think they like the idea of the Team USA versus Team World. And one interesting thing, and I know you noticed it too, is some of the players are native of a different country outside the U.S. but have U.S. citizenship.
Yeah, because there's not as many international players, obviously, but they do have dual citizenships, so I guess they could qualify. Now, when it gets to the Olympic stage, I don't know, the Olympics, I guess you still also have an option. If you're from a certain country, I think you could play for that country. I know it happens in other sports, so it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. But it's going to be a full 5 days. A team competition kicks it off, and then you got all the top pros in the men and women's side playing for $100,000 in prize money. So it's going to be a very interesting event. We were just at Punta Gorda, so it's a great complex up there. So it's going to be a good battle this weekend overall when you get the top players all competing.
I think all the pros converging on one place with 16 courts in Punta Gorda at the Pickleplex is going to be an amazing event. It's the second year that he's put this on, and they do a championship day all by itself. And let me tell you why I love that aspect of it, Carl. Is because in traditional tournaments, these pros battle all day long at the elite highest level in our sport. And by the end, if they have to play the gold medal match at the very end, they are usually exhausted and gassed, and they don't always come out with their best showing. But when you put championship day on Sunday at the end and they've had time to rest and recover, you're going to see some of the best pickleball you've ever seen in one day with all those elite players competing and battling for that $100,000.
Championship Sunday, 5 matches as you mentioned. Could be somebody like Ben Johns in singles, mixed, and doubles, so he might play 3 finals, possibly. not that we're making any predictions here, but he could play even 3 finals on one single day, and we're going to be covering all of that, so it's going to be very exciting to see that championship Sunday. And amateurs are still competing in this tournament. I think registration is closing soon. They're almost full capacity, but the amateurs, to get to see the pros play and also compete, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, Jan encourages everybody, whether you're a pro or an amateur, to come out and be a part of the event and be a part of something great. This is history being made in pickleball right now. Carl, I think you would agree that we're a part of something very special right now with the growth of pickleball, and I'm just excited to be a part of something like the World Pickleball Championships, the 2nd year. I'm excited to be in the booth with you, bringing all the professional commentary. We're going to have the CBS Network and FTF Next, bringing a lot of that broadcast and live streaming alongside you. I'm just excited.
It's going to be great. For the Fans Network, streaming worldwide to 100 million homes. CBS Network with the finals, so it's going to be a great week at Punta Gorda and all the top pros. So if you get a chance, stop on out, come out and watch, come out and play, and just enjoy your pickleball. And that's this week's edition of
Inside World Pickleball.
I'm Carl Foster with
Melissa McCurley.
Carpe
Dinkum.
This week's show is presented by North Point Bank, relationship-based banking, your #1 choice for home loans and high-interest savings. And PGA Village Verano, the award-winning gated community in Port St. Lucie, Florida.